Nature is just about one thing, and that is the survival of the fittest. And we humans try our best to survive, but there are few animals that are made different. These animals can survive anything. And when I say anything, I mean everything. Mud minnows are one of the rare fish species that can live in both freshwater and saltwater. When subjects were switched from seawater to freshwater for 72 hours, their blood returned to normal. They can also survive lower oxygen levels in the water than most other fish, surviving by consuming more oxygen at the surface. Mud minnows may even live in highly polluted or otherwise unsuitable environments. Chemicals that would induce cancer, deadly liver damage, and other dreadful things in any other species have developed tolerance in the populations living in these poison waters. The Himalayan jumping spider. The Himalayan jumping spider is the highest living species on the globe. Obviously, he lives in the Himalayas at altitudes of up to 22,000 feet. If you ever intend to climb Mount Everest, be aware that you may likely come across some jumping spiders along the journey. Furthermore, at such high altitudes, oxygen levels are extremely low, less than half of what they are at sea level. As a result, there aren't many other species that thrive up there. They were formerly thought to be cannibals because they are carnivores and there aren't many other creatures to eat. But don't worry, these spiders rely on the wind to provide their meals. It's quite intriguing to see how few insects that reside at lower altitudes be pushed up the mountain sufficiently to become a stable food supply. Cockroaches. Because the head is one of the most crucial elements of an animal's body, it cannot survive without it. Cockroaches, on the other hand, are a different matter. So, how long can a roach go without its head before it dies? So, here's the deal. It could take up to a week. Cockroaches, unlike humans, breathe through small holes in each of their body segments, eliminating the need for a mouth or head. They do, however, require their mouths to drink water, and after a week or so, they will succumb to thirst. Cockroaches could go a month without eating if they didn't need to sip water to survive. Cockroaches have even more remarkable survival strategies than their capacity to exist without a head. Cockroaches, for example, may hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. They can also withstand being immersed for up to 30 minutes. Cockroaches are also extremely quick. They can run at speeds of up to 3 miles per hour, which is roughly the same as walking. A one-day-old baby cockroach can sprint almost as quickly as its parents. Unfortunately for us humans, this means that germs and bacteria can easily spread throughout our homes. This can make us extremely ill and exacerbate asthma symptoms. Dealing with a cockroach infestation at home can be tough because cockroaches are some of the most adaptable insects on the planet. The Pompey worm. The Pompey worm is one of the world's most heat-tolerant invertebrates and is a bristle worm species that can only be found at hydrothermal vents deep in the Pacific Ocean. For those unfamiliar with hydrothermal vents, they are essentially underwater hot springs. The water that comes out of these vents can reach temperatures of up to 700 degrees Fahrenheit. The Pompey worm, as cool as it seems, can't actually endure that heat, but it can live in water up to 176 degrees. It has also been reported to survive at 221 degrees for a shorter time. Worms have revealed that their remarkable heat resistance may be attributable to bacteria growing on their backs that feed on more mucus. Naked mole rats. Naked mole rats have never been the most conventional mammal. The scrotum-like creatures are cancer-resistant, can survive over 20 minutes without oxygen, and have a low pain threshold. But according to recent research, they're far stranger than experts could have imagined. When these unusual animals are deprived of oxygen, their metabolism resembles that of a plant rather than a mammal, according to a recent study. Naked mole rats' brain cells, unlike those of all other animals, do not run out of energy and die when they are deprived of oxygen. In fact, naked mole rats can survive for 5 hours at oxygen levels that would kill a human in minutes. A new study found that they can survive for an incredible 18 minutes without oxygen by going into a vegetative condition. Naked mole rats conserve energy by limiting their movements, lowering their breathing rate, and slowing their pulse considerably, according to previous research. They're the only mammals known to have survived asphyxia in this state. When a naked mole rat is deprived of oxygen, instead of sticking to a glucose-based system that is dependent on oxygen, it alters his metabolism to burn fructose for energy instead of glucose. Fructose can be converted to energy anaerobically, which means it can be broken down into cellular energy without the presence of oxygen. Until now, it was considered that plants were the only ones who employed this anaerobic pathway. Further, when fructose was delivered directly to the brains and hearts of naked mole rats and mice, these organs were able to survive without oxygen by utilizing fructose as an energy source. Mica's hearts and brains failed under the same conditions. Surprisingly, the naked mole rat's heart functioned as well with fructose and glucose, indicating that it is equally adept at both types of metabolism. The research is significant not only because it elucidates the true biology of these strange organisms, it also raises the question of whether human cells can live in the absence of oxygen. The wood frog. To withstand the extreme winter temperatures, most frogs use the same hibernating mechanism. They'll lie on top of the mud at the bottom of a body of water, allowing oxygen to enter through their skin from the water. The wood frog, on the other hand, has a distinct hibernating mechanism. The only frog species that lives north of the Arctic Circle is endemic to North America. For the winter, the wood frog allows itself to be frozen alive. If that wasn't enough, its body also has the ability to create its own antifreeze. This prevents the cells from being dehydrated enough to reverse the freezing process. Believe it or not, this adorable little frog can stay in this position for up to 7 months before thawing out and returning to its usual frog life. 2/3 of the frozen blood was not flowing and the heart was not beating. I think we can all agree that this is the coolest frog on the planet. The immortal jellyfish. The immortal jellyfish is a physiologically immortal jellyfish species that can be found in the Mediterranean Sea and Japanese waters. They begin as a single small larva and grow into a colony of genetically similar creatures. These mature into mature jellyfish, but now things start to get interesting. If immortal jellyfish approach old age and become sick, injured, or stressed, they can actually go back to their larval state by modifying their cells. Of course, they can now die without reverting if they are eaten by predators or contract a disease. However, the everlasting jellyfish is, in theory, truly immortal. The tardigrade, sometimes known as the water bear, is widely regarded as the most indestructible species on the Earth. Under a microscope, which is the only way to see one of these 8-legged water-dwelling small animals, they're strangely nearly lovely. They can survive for up to 30 years without food or water, and in extreme temperatures as low as -328 degrees Fahrenheit or as high as over 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is incredible. They can even withstand catastrophic occurrences such as asteroid collisions or gamma-ray bursts, which would obliterate an entire species. They can also endure strong radiation and the cold vacuum of space if that isn't enough. They'd often withstand such harsh conditions by entering a biostate, in which they coil into a ball and produce chemicals to protect their organs. As a result, their metabolic rate plummets to the point that they are on the verge of death. Now, tardigrades were found in 1773, and its name means slow stepper. Yet the tiny water bear is a true superhero on Earth, no matter how small and slow it is. These amazing animals are indeed a wonder. We don't have all the reasoning, but they are truly fascinating.